Hello, beautiful people. I am okay after a very long time. The people on YouTube have been asking this question as to what are the most frequent questions that you get if you're going for maintenance court, particularly for child maintenance. So I've promised people that I'll answer this question. For the longest time, I've been saying I'll do it, and I even forgot about it. And then lately this week, I came across a comment that said, "Aibo, we've been waiting." Then I thought, let me try and squeeze this video as soon as I can get it. Let us recap as to the procedure to the maintenance court in short. Why would you go to the maintenance court, particularly for child maintenance? You'd go to the child maintenance court to take a person that is irresponsible, the other parent that is irresponsible, the other parent that does not know that the child has got to be fed, has got to be sheltered, has got to be clothed. That is the person that you can take to the maintenance court. Not the person that is not working, they won't be able to help you at the maintenance court. Not the person that is making efforts as to maybe they've got limited resources, like a person that is not working, but maybe they've got odd jobs that they do, and whenever they can help, they chip in to help. The maintenance court is not going to help you with such a person. You'll be wasting your time if you're taking such a person. The maintenance court wants you to come to them if you are convinced that the person that you are taking to maintenance court has got a regular income, whether in the form of employment or in the form of business or any other income, but that income is so regular such that they can afford to make regular payments towards the child maintenance. So then they will consider your application. So by the time you take a person to the maintenance court, please make sure that we have established that that person is working, or that person has got a regular income, or that person is rich, they've got money, and from that amount of money that they have, they can afford to make regular payments towards the maintenance of the child. That's number one. Number two, you also have got to have their address. The maintenance court would want you to have that person's address. It's important. So make a plan to find that person, where that person is, because some maintenance officers will not help you locate the person. They would expect that information from you. I hear there are maintenance courts that really do the job. If a person has gotten into hiding, they would have a way in which they can investigate and find the person. But I can assure you right now that not all maintenance officers will go to that length. So if you are able to find the person's address, the person that you would like to help with co-parenting, kankani, in terms of maintenance court, so please ensure that somehow you find that person's address. Now, by the time you get there, I said you'll fill the form. They will make you fill the form. In that form, already there is space for expenses. You must provide the expenses for everything that you are spending for the child. Now, as you fill that form, do not forget information like the food that you are spending on the child. But you remember, on the form, you are not writing everything that is just pertaining the child. You are going to write everything as pertaining to you and the child, or you and the children. So in the household, you're going to fill in the information about the household, and you're going to divide by the number of the people in there to find but this will happen in court. But even beside court, there is space on the form itself, there is space for the amount per the household and then the amount per child. Ne? And if it's 2 children, you're just gonna multiply by 2. If it's 3 children, you're gonna multiply by 3, just like that, by the number of children, because they want to see, the court wants to see how much expenses are there in total. And there is allowance for medical aid as well. There is a space for the housing, the shelter as well, the schooling, like everything, almost everything is there. So you must, like the form itself it has got a guideline as to what you need to be filling there. So it's not totally blank where you are lost as to what kind of expenses you need to write there. So it's somehow guiding as to what kind of information is needed, and then you can add more. And it also does allow you to think about things like sporting activities that the child can participate in. Things like swimming, you can also include them there. That okay, because that we do know that these days swimming is part of the things that we absolutely need to make sure that our children do know how to. It's life-saving. Therefore, it's actually almost a must that you need to, for a certain period of time, register a child in swimming classes so that they know how to swim. That is to help them with life-saving skills, because if a child were to drown, if they know how to swim, then they can get out of the drowning, you understand, and not drown. Yeah, so yes, things like that. And learners are children are expected to participate in things like soccer or whatever, netball, whatever sporting activity that the child is interested in. We can put the children there or the child there and claim it against that parent as well. Remember, in the maintenance code, the expenses are checked against you as well, you the claimant, as a person that is claiming this amount, and against the person also. They want to see your own contribution. And how do they see your own contribution? By bringing receipts. So most of the things that you put there, ensure that you have to bring evidence thereof. If you say you have registered a child in swimming classes, bring evidence to show. If you say you have registered a child at a creche or aftercare, bring the receipts. Everything, bring the receipts. So now coming to the questions, the question that was like, what are the most frequent questions that are asked by the magistrate at the maintenance court? Now listen, when you get to the maintenance court, you don't actually deal directly with the maintenance magistrate. The magistrate will only come at the end when you have agreed or when you have to go for postponement. The magistrate is the last person that gets the end of the stick, and that is now either going to resolve the issue, whether you have maybe reached a deadlock where you cannot agree on a certain amount. Then the magistrate will come in there and try and detect from the both of you. When are you saying you want this amount, you must now say to the magistrate, why is it that you want that amount from this person? When this person comes and says, nah, I cannot afford, then they have to come to the magistrate with evidence that they cannot afford. Therefore, the magistrate will decide from there. And sometimes the magistrate makes the final deciding point to say, you are going to, I sign for this. Even if you have agreed upon a certain amount, which the discussions happen in front of a person that we call the maintenance officer. The maintenance officer works more or less as a prosecutor. They are working towards, or a mediator, let me not say prosecutor, they work as a mediator. Ne? So when you get to the maintenance court, number one, you are not going directly straight to the magistrate. You start with the person called the maintenance officer. The maintenance officer, his work is to mediate between the two of you. When now you say, let's say for the school, I'm paying the school 500 rand, and if I'm paying the school 500 rand, as the other parent, I'm expecting 250 for it. A set whatever amount, ne? Each and every amount that is there that you are affording to enroll the child, afford for the child, the other parent is expected to bring half. But it does not automatically work that way, because this mediator, this maintenance officer, is also going to look at who affords what according to the income that they have. So they're going to take both your pay slips. Hence, one of the things that is most important is how much do you earn. That is the determining factor of many things, but it's not the only deciding factor. So the two of you are bringing into the amount of your incomes. Okay, this is how much I earn, this is how much I earn. And we do know that it's not every day that you'd find that people are working the same job and affording or earning the same amount of money. Most of the time there are differences. Now that's where the maintenance officer gets in. So in other words, to answer your question as to what are the most frequent questions, most frequent questions are questions that are already on the form. That form is a guiding factor of the most frequent questions. Questions like, what is your income? What are your basic whatever? How much do you pay for this? How much do you pay for this? How much do you pay for this? Like just backing up everything that you would have filled in on the form. Those are the questions that you're going to answer when you come to the date. On your date of appearance in court, the two of you, winner, as the person that is claiming maintenance from the other person, you must bring evidence. How you answer this is by bringing evidence. You bringing everything that you have. You bringing supporting evidence for everything that you have claimed on the form. The form have asked you about your pay slip, your income. You must bring the evidence. The form has asked about the expenses of medical aid. It must be somewhere on your pay slip. The form has asked about how much do you pay for rental, the rental place or the place that you own. You must see whether you own the place, whether you pay the bond or you pay the rental. You bring the evidence, and that's all there is to it. Like there's not much that is out of that form that they're gonna ask you. Most of the questions that they're going to ask you, they are already on the form, and they don't ask you. They can ask you like verbally, yes. Some of the things you can have to attest verbally, because not everything that you can bring as evidence to court. For instance, you can even claim the parking money, the very parking money, as you are if you are driving. You give those people 5 rand, 10 rand for guarding your car. You don't get a slip for that. You understand? I'm just making an example, but you're allowed to claim that even in there, to say in a month I'm spending 100 rand just on parking spaces. And some of the parking spaces like that you have to either put in a machine or you have to pay someone that gets the car officially. Yes, you are allowed to also fill that in the form. So Um, the most frustrating thing is you may find questions like, why did you choose to take the child there in terms of the school? If you have taken the child to a fee paying school, they may ask you, starting with the maintenance officer, they would ask you, why did you take the child there? Because there are no fee schools. South Africa, the government does offer no fee schools. Now, since you say you are struggling to a point where you need help from the other partner, why are you not making things easier for yourself? Why are you not taking the child there? I know it's the most disgusting question, it's irritating, but unfortunately, that is one of the questions that may be asked in there. So expect that question and have answers. Have answers. Like now, my answer was, if they asked me that, which happened so many times, I would say, why would I take the children to school which is in the township? All the no fee paying schools in the town that we're living in were in the township. That is transport today. That was number one. Number two, I would say, in there they are doing languages that these kids do not know, because now these kids have been in the schools that are in town that have got English and Afrikaans as their mediums of instructions there, and they have been introduced to those schools by him before we divorce. So I would tell the maintenance officer and the magistrate, because even the magistrate may ask that question. So I would say, he is the one, before we split, he is the one that took the children to these schools. So I cannot remove these kids from these already schools that they've been exposed to because of the language that they are now used to. And in the township, they now have to do vernacular, which they are not familiar with. Number two, that is now transport. I have to now transport them from town to the township so that they can go to an office school. Now I'll be paying for transport, which is something that I still have to pay. So that is also something that will now cancel what I'm trying to do, because if I can pay transport to the town school to township, that is the transport that needs to be, that is the transport that I could be now paying as school fees in the in town, because we are living in town. So I used to reason like that. So I don't know if, I think everybody can work out a way of answering that question, because that is the most frequent question. Another frequent question is, why do you not cancel the medical aid since you say you are unable to? Because the government does offer free services and affordable services. Remember, clinics are free and hospitals are very small amount fees compared to the medical aid. So I would say, no, I cannot do that, because the queues, I'm working and I'm a single parent, so I cannot afford to be absent from work taking a child to the clinic the whole day, whereas I've got 3 children. If the other one is sick today, and then the other one could be sick next week, and the other one could be sick the other week, then that means I will have to take days off to go to the clinic, which is now making 3. So I would make such examples that I would be having, in a month, I could be having 3 days that I miss a work. Whereas if I have got a medical aid, I can always take my children after school. After my work, I can take my children to the doctor. Or I can go straight, take the child to the doctor, and spend maybe at maximum 2 hours, and then still be able to go back to work. So those were the reasons that I would use in court when asked by either the maintenance officer or the magistrate. Now, after you have not reached the agreement, maybe you have asked for 2,000 rand per child, né? And this other parent is complaining, telling the court how much debt they have, because they're allowed to say that as well. They're allowed to bring their expenses. They can show the court that yes, I'm earning this amount of money, but I also have got debts. I've got this that I'm paying, and this and this and this. And they also answer questions like, why are you not doing this? Because this is more, if there is a child and that debt that you're talking about, which one is better? They are asked questions like that you cannot prioritize this over the child. Why are you prioritizing that over the child? They are asked questions like that. But most of the person that gets to justify more is the person that wants support. When another person that wants support, you are the one that has to do a lot of defending, because now you are the one that is eager to get this amount of support from this person. And then this other person as well, based on the kind of evidence that you have to show that this child has got this expenses towards them, and you are covering those expenses by yourself without this person, and you want them to chip in and support with either a half or even more, depending on who's getting a more salary there and who has got less or more expenses. So taking a person to the maintenance court is not a clear-cut thing. It's not like there are specific questions that they would definitely say when you get there, they're going to ask you this, and then they were going to ask. It's not a restricted environment where you say they ask this question and then this question and that question. No, they ask those questions according to the form, how you filled it. That's number one. And then some of the questions will just chip in, but basically they are based on the very same form. And particularly on things like DSTV, don't even put it there, because now they're gonna tell you that is entertainment. That is not an absolute need for a child to have DSTV. So you can't say I paid DSTV this much amount. They are not interested in things like DSTV. You can't talk about Showmax. You can't talk about Netflix, ne? Because now they will tell you that those are extra. They are more like extra curricular activities, you understand? So they are not an absolute need for a child. So they focus more on absolute needs of the child in court more than the luxury. So DSTV, Showmax, Netflix are regarded as luxury in maintenance court. So you may not need to put them there on the form. If you put them there, let's hope you have better reasons that you can tell the court as to why you feel like they also have got to be considered when you put them there. Yeah, so that is it. And then by the time you go to the magistrate is just going to either, if you have reached an appointment, if you have reached the agreement in front of the maintenance officer, the magistrate is just going to ensure that both of you understand the terms and conditions of what you're binding yourself in, and also is going to make sure that the person that agrees, they understand what they are signing for, because they must sign. Both of you must sign. If you agree that the child will be given 2,000 per month per child, the person that has to pay this 2,000, they first have to understand their method of payment. They have to bind themselves towards the method of payment that they'll be doing and the date. And they also have to understand, if they do not do that, they do not adhere to that, what are the repercussions of not adhering to what they are signing for. So that is what the magistrate will be asking. Do you understand this? Do you understand this? Do you understand this? And then the person says yes, 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 yes. And also you're also asked, do you understand that this person has bound themselves to this? And if they don't do that, you go to a certain place where you have to go and report that this person has failed to do this and this and this. And the method of payment that I would like to advise women so that you do not have extra is the garnish order is better. It's better that you ask for a garnish order so that they take it out directly from the person's payroll. When they prepare his salary advice at work, when they remove do all the transactions there, the deductions, they can put maintenance there. That will be less stress for you. And that method will also help you in terms of if the person gets to be retrenched from work, the work directly tells the court with immediate effect that this person, the person has put in a resignation, or the person is retrenched, this is the last payment. So you don't get to sit for a long time not noticing that this person is no longer working. But if you are going to make it a free will where the person will send you from bank to you, or they will send it to the maintenance court, take it there. The problem may be that the person may maybe stop working and keep on paying for 2, 3, 4 months. By the time you realize that the person is no longer working, by the time they start defaulting, you find that they have, number one, long stopped working. 2, they have even gotten all their pension and they have used their pension. There is nothing for you to claim. Whereas if it is garnished, the company immediately, the person either resigns or the person gets retrenched, they do tell the maintenance court that this is the last payment because the person is retrenched or the person has resigned. And the court immediately knows what to do. From there, they would claim what is called future maintenance on the person's pension, so that the child's maintenance can be paid forward. And he won't get his pension. He won't get his pension services that he has worked for until the court has decided how much should be taken away from the cost, from this person's pension with regard to the child. So it's called future maintenance. I'll make another video to talk about future maintenance, as to how does future maintenance work and how does all the steps that needs to be followed for future maintenance. Thank you so much. I don't want this video to be very long. I will make another video only on future maintenance. Fine. And then in case you do not decide, you do not agree, you and the person that needs to contribute towards the child does not agree on a figure, that is when the maintenance court will take you to the magistrate. Then when you get to the magistrate will hear both sides. Why are you sticking to this amount? Can't you just compromise? Tell the magistrate now. You tell the magistrate the reasons why you cannot compromise from the figure that you have asked. If you have asked for 2,000 per month, why can't you accept 1,500? And on the other side, he also or she also gets to convince the magistrate that the reason why he cannot agree to the 2,000 rand per month is because of 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. The magistrate will say, okay. Now, when you get to the magistrate, it's more now about him not agreeing to this amount. He has to do the more proving as to why. Then the magistrate says, okay. Then he says, maybe I am paying for the house where I'm staying. Fine. He has to and then maybe I've got debts in terms of clothing or whatever, that's when the magistrate says, hey, go and deal with it, see how best to do that. And then they would come to an understanding. Most of the time the magistrate will not certainly give you the 2,000 rand that you have asked, but it would come close. It would come close, and this person will have to be told by the magistrate, go and deal with this, deal with this, deal with this, but the child has to eat. And then the magistrate can come to a decision. But sometimes if the magistrate, you find the magistrate that is very strict, they would say, when I remember there was one magistrate that was telling me that I need to give children peanut butter and jam. I must buy peanut butter and jam on the bread and give the child. Imagine giving the child that every day, and he would tell me that his children, that was the magistrate, his children were eating that, so I also go to. So you find things like that. These magistrates also do apply their own experiences into the cases. They are also applying their own minds, their own thinking into the cases. So going to the maintenance court is not an easy way, but it's worth, and it's worth the wait. It's worth the times that you're going there. Whether you're not going to get the 2,000 rand amount that you have asked for, but whatever that you're going to get at the end, towards the end, it's worth it. And I think I'll make another video to talk about how people that do not want to talk, or that do not want to pay maintenance, can make your life miserable by bringing in the attorneys. The attorneys are complicating things. I will make another video to talk just about the complications of bringing in the attorneys in terms of maintenance cases, as to, are they solving the issue, are they making the issues difficult? We want to talk about that, but in a different video. Thank you so much for watching up until this far. Guard against the other video that I'll be making, talking about the use of attorneys in terms of maintenance officers and maintenance cases, which you need to expect particularly from the person that you will be taking there. When not a claimant, you may not bring in the lawyer, but the person that is now the plaintiff, the person that you're claiming the maintenance against, may bring in a lawyer instead of maintaining the children. It has happened before. Yes, we're going to talk about that later. Thank you so much, and bye-bye.